Hi. It was almost graceful start. We almost have the perfect camera position right out the gate, and I almost left-clicked the unmute microphone button correctly the first time. Instead, I had to do it about 5 times, which you couldn't really tell, because, of course, you couldn't hear my mouse clicks, because it was muted. It's okay, it's an almost perfect kind of day so far. Woke up, iQuare had taken a placeholder graphic I sent him from that Five Nations game, and already implemented a very complicated unit, so that's pretty funny. So then I sent him another one. See what happens. I still have to make one for a unit that he's already implemented. But we'll see what happens. What is up, Connor? How are you? How's this crap coming along? Yeah, so far so good. Yesterday we were torn between working on this and working on a bunch of custom asset conversions for other purposes that had nothing to do with this. So today I would actually like to, if I do end up doing more graphic conversions, which I assume I will, I would like to go looking for graphics that I could use for this. So I'm also going to continue working on the mod today. Yesterday I implemented the Cyclops, which is a Terran unit that looks like this. I'm pretty sure it's fucked up because of some palette issue, so I'm going to try to re-import it, see what I can do. But it's a custom asset made by Voyager for his mod. So I threw that together into the mod. I made an iScript for it. Seems to work fine. Probably need to up the speed. And then I think that unit will be good to go. So I also made a hero variant, which is why Chuck is there. That's Chuck. He's a cool guy. So yeah, see what happens. I'm doing pretty well myself. Woke up and there was eggs and sausage ready for me. My mother had made that. That was nice. Excellent. Excellent thing to wake up to. So I devoured that. Got a banana, just ate that before getting on here. And now I got my G Fuel. Now I'm just about ready to go. So one of the other things that I want to touch on is I got to figure out like what kind of what graphics I'm going to be implementing for the other guys. So I know I want there's like a unit, an Omni Crid, which is a really poorly done kitbash of a Defiler and a Lurker, and I want to use that for the Acid Elder for the Zitsun as like a if you can call it a placeholder. I don't know if I'll ever get actual graphics for the Zitsun, but that's one of the ideas that I have. So I already have that downloaded. I've had that for a while. Now then, on top of that, there's also a I would like to add at least one unit to each faction. So we've got the Exoframe graphic that from Voyager added as the Cyclops unit for the Raiders. I would like to add a Kenyan unit. Although you will have access to the Cyclops as the player, I would like to add more shit to the Kenyan so that the player has some custom tech tree stuff. And I would also like to continue adding stuff like the Acid Elder for the Zitsun, probably also the Ultralisk, but that can remain an Ultralisk, that's fine. And then I need to figure out something for the Ice Cream Brood, figure out what they're doing. Obviously the Frauds are meant to be somewhat custom, but they're also okay. It's okay if they're just Protoss and they have modified stats and weapons and stuff. But I would like to figure out something for them. And the Rockin, I have no fucking idea. I don't even know if this topmost player is actually going to remain in the game. I was playing around with new player color for him, but I definitely need to pick a different shade of white. I think that's pretty much the only thing it needs. But I don't actually know if the player color I might end up settling on might end up being super similar to something else, to the point where it's not actually that useful. We'll see. Anyway, all that aside, I am definitely dead set on adding some new units today. So first things first, let's go into... Oh, I just closed that and I just wanted to minimize it, but whatever. We're going to go into the graphic that we used for the Exoframe, and we're going to figure out what the fuck is wrong with it. Maybe it just needs to be imported with a real program. Because I'm pretty sure Voyager used the 187. Pretty sure he used the wrong program for this. Yeah, I guess I'll just call it civilian. And then I guess I can generate my own shadow because the current one is kind of dumb. So I'll fire up Photoshop for that purpose. And then we'll test it again. But the artifacting I was seeing on that unit does not seem like it has anything to do with... I mean, it doesn't seem like... Oh. I thought it was in Windows Explorer and it just closed on me. It doesn't seem like... Oh, maybe it is fucked up. It doesn't seem like it's too fucked up on the sprite level, but... What the fuck is that? There's random blue. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, let's do... the unit shadow. Alright, let's see what happens. Process all these images slowly but surely. Meanwhile, we can fire up our GPTP plugin. Let's see. Oh, well, actually, before I do that, because that'll be like a later thing. I don't even know how to do that yet, but presumably it's not going to be too difficult to figure out. So we are going to go into assets. Now, I don't know what Starfield is. I guess these are backgrounds or something. Strange. Federation gadgets. Weapon projectiles. Interesting. Yeah, they sort their other stuff a little bit differently. Athrael. Apparently that's the name of this race. Of course, if we were to bother trying to take these graphics, like the Blast Shock Cyan, that seems like a really reasonable graphic to port into Brood War, at face value anyway. The odds of us being able to convert it and then actually being able to use it seem kind of slim. But I'm not super familiar. Maybe there's some other way to handle it. Maybe I can send it to DF. Hi, I'm back. Alright, before I dive into that some more, I am going to go grab the OmniGrid graphic that I was just talking about. It's even still here. There it is. Somebody already made a shitty icon and wireframe for it. Oh, the wireframe doesn't look that bad. The wireframe makes the asset look better than it actually is. Biggest issue is definitely the, like, a single frame of it seems okay, but it ranges in quality so heavily. Wow, nice burrow frame, by the way. What is that? He just erased pixels. What the fuck? Alright, anyway. So we'll take that. Extract. Alright. And there are 231. So we'll get ready to process that one. We'll use the, I think we'll use the flatter shadow for that one. But we might have to use the flat shadow for the exo frame as well, I'm not sure. But we'll figure it out. Bum, 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 bum. Off you go. Okay, so Veek asked me to take a look at some of his units, so I'm going to let him know. 15 minutes. 15:15 is when I started doing this. So UED commander. All right, so it looks like he's like making his own UED tech tree. So he's replaced the Marine with something called a Cyber Soldier, which has 45 HP, which is plus 5 HP over the normal Marine, 20 shields, obviously no shields for the normal Marine, 7 or 8 damage, so that's 1 or 2 more than the default Marine attack, same attack speed, has stim pack but no Marine range upgrade, 1 range more than normal Marine, but okay, so that's not really the same thing as Marine range having no Marine range upgrade. Has it by default. 75 minerals and 1.5 supply. What's up, UED Commander? Speak of thy devil, of course. Well, the problem I see is every race in Starcraft sort of has their own niche. So basically you have something like Zerg, which is a lot of units, low supply, low individual cost. Protoss, which is few units in terms of like number of units that you field by comparison to most Zerg armies. You'll have a few units that are powerful and high cost. And then Terrans are somewhere in between. So it seems like the UED so far in this example, obviously just looking at one unit so far, are going to be in between Terran and Protoss. It's kind of hard to break the paradigm because you're only dealing with one set of things, really, but I still feel like maybe they could be more like conventional Terrans in terms of their costs, but have very different execution, perhaps, like demand a different playstyle based on the attention that their units need to get the most benefit or something. But it also depends on how different you want the UED to be from Terrans. Like, this sounds like a unit that would be a tier 1.5 or tier 2 unit that would replace something like a Firebat or a Ghost. And you would basically have this unit, obviously add gas cost to it, maybe make it a full-blown 2 supply, or keep it at 1 supply. I don't know how I feel about 1.5. That seems, it's difficult to keep track of that if you have a lot of units that are 1.5. Whereas, like, at least one unit being half a supply is easier for you to conceptualize. But maybe it'll be okay in testing. This just seems more like a tier 1.5 or tier 2 unit that would be part of like a Terran subfaction. That's very clearly still Terran, even though, like, instead of it being a new faction, like a new race rather. So if that's what you're going for, maybe that works out. Firebat is replaced by a Juggernaut, slowly moving soldier, attacks only ground, long range slow attack with high damage. Anytime you have a slow attack, you have to make sure that, like, you're front loading damage onto a very slow cooldown, you have to make sure that the unit isn't too boring, because what you'll end up getting is, I think Necron had the same problem with it, the Sherman tank or something. It's not Sherman, it's Panzer, I think. Some fucking World War II name, because he's a very creative person. And he just made it so that it dealt a fuck ton of front-loaded damage with a really lengthy attack for no reason. So that's like a really boring unit. You don't really get any micro out of it. You don't really get any benefit out of it. So you don't want to make attack speed, like, the way that you conceptualize attack speed, or the way that I do anyway, and the way that it's most useful to, and for an RTS balancing and design standpoint, in my opinion, you basically have to consider it as a resource itself, and that resource is like how much opportunity the unit has to affect change in the battlefield. So just like your resources, the number of minerals and gas you have is comparable and translatable into opportunity for you, the player, to affect change in your army or tech or whatever. Like, you can do things with your resources. The attack speed dictates how much the player can use, or how much change the player can use a certain unit to impact, basically, or enact. Reading chat is always hilarious, man. So, slowly moving, and like, what it sounds like is you want something that's like a slow-moving tank of an infantry unit. But the problem with the paradigm of having a slowly moving unit that also has a slowly recharging attack is there's not much opportunity for them. Movement speed is very similar to attack speed in that sense. You can move around the army. If it was at least a high mobility unit, you could micro it around and use that to your advantage while you wait for the cooldown to come off. It would still be a lot of APM, but at least there would be that. And that would serve as like a feature of the unit. Like, as far as I can understand, like, especially since it attacks on the ground, the long range is really the only thing that it has going for it. And so you consider that, it's like the Cyber Soldier would actually be spammed out way more than the Juggernaut, and you would only really use a couple Juggernauts once you had a comfortable front line of Cyber Soldiers. This is also all conceptual, all theoretical, but if you're only ever thinking, like, yes, this is one way that I can use this unit, and that's really the only way that comes to mind, it's probably indicative of restrictive design, I would say. Now we have Siege Tank replaced with a rocket launcher, slow-moving unit similar to Sieged Tank, launching 2 AoE rockets, normal damage, minimal range. Minimal range. So this is, again, it seems like these are just lateral replacements, so you're replacing the Marine and the Firebat. These are not additions, you're not adding new units. And you're replacing the Wraith with a Starcraft 2 unit, which is always a disaster. Okay, so I'm not sure what minimal range means. I mean, I know what it means in a normal sentence, but in this context, what do you want the slow-moving unit to have to get very close? Or is that minimal range as in, oh, has a minimum range similar to a siege tank? Okay, that was confusing. So, yeah, exactly, Luciferius. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. 2 AoE rockets. Are they fly and don't follow target? Like, I need more information on this unit. But it also seems like you're designing a military that's going to be fairly slow to move out. If you want that to be the personality of the UED, where they don't have a lot of mobility, but if they have a lot of units in the same area, they can enact a lot of damage. They have front-loaded damage in a lot of cases. I can see that being a racial identity for them, but you have to consider, like, what kind of position that puts the player in who's using that tech tree. And to some extent, that has to inform your level design, just like your level design is informed by a tacit understanding of how the rest of the races function. So, yeah, I don't know all of the stats here, and I don't know much more about it. Like, really, I need more information on all of these units, because I only have theory to go off of. But, yeah, I don't know what its minimum range is, and I don't know what its maximum range is, and I don't know what its damage is. And I don't know if the rock, like, what its projectile behavior is. So I need more info on this unit in particular. Now, the Cyber Vulture, I assume the asterisk is name to be determined later. Deals normal damage in AoE. Attack split to 3. Can't be upgraded. Cost more minerals, no gas. So 100 or 125 minerals instead of 75, presumably. And otherwise, I assume it's still 2 supply, same time to train. I don't know what... Anytime you have a unit that doesn't receive upgrades, I feel like you've gone off the deep end from a design perspective, because what you're admitting is this unit is broken if it's obeying by the constant of RTS design. So if you have a situation like that, you should just retool the unit so it makes more sense. Like, anytime you have a gimmick where they can't be upgraded, unless this is like can't receive movement speed and spider mines or something. But if you're talking about like can't receive vehicle upgrades, like, again, this is incomplete information. Just be more precise next time, because maybe that's what you mean, in which case, okay, the unit doesn't have any upgrades or abilities, which is fine. But if you're saying it can't receive vehicle upgrades, and you know, you're having a unit that can't scale, so it really only is strong in the early game, and presumably would be broken if it did scale, and that's why. So you'll see very rarely will that occur in an RTS, and usually when it does, it's a disaster. I haven't seen a good example of it. Goliath is replaced by Captured Dragoon. I would say, like, you probably want to do not repossessed, but converted or something. A different term than captured, probably. Recovered. I don't know. Modified Dragoon with improved anti-air. More pricey than normal Dragoons. Requires machine shop. So, I don't know what improved anti-air means. Again, that's super vague. Then there's a heavy mech, slow mech unit, specialized to anti-heavy ground unit. Medium high speed, high attack damage, with low range and tough. Well, I also don't really know all about that either. So, yeah, I mean, I can't really give you as much in-depth information as I did for the infantry, because I don't have as much information for the vehicle units. So I'm not sure. I think also another thing to note is you label the Banshee as a harassment unit, but I feel like this would be a fast-moving unit, attacks only ground. Anytime you have to label a unit as harassment unit, and the unit doesn't already exist, like, it's not like me labeling the Vulture a harassment unit. You kind of want to design a unit, and if you want it to fill a niche like harassment, see how it can do that and see what other things it can be used for. Like, the Wraith, in theory, is great for harassment too, but people use it to snipe overlords, which you can consider harassment, but it's also like scouting, and they use it for anti-air against capital ships. Like, there's more than one purpose to it. Vultures are, in theory, great for harassment, but in addition to being used for harassment, they're also used for map control with the spider mine. So, like, it's more than just that. So I might be reading too much into you just labeling it a harassment unit because you don't have any other information here, but if this is just meant to be a StarCraft 2 crossover, then I'm not sure what you gain by taking the Banshee, replacing the Wraith with the Banshee. I mean, I guess if you have the Valkyrie and it's adapted to replace the Wraith anti-air roll, like you say, maybe you can split that. But I feel like if you're going to be replacing units or augmenting units, basically, like in the lore, it's like you're not replacing the Vulture, you're augmenting its purpose with something different, something like that. That would be a different thing, right? So it's a different thing than replacing it with like a completely new unit ID altogether, like a new unit identity. So yeah, more information needed for sure. But that was Veek's tech tree list that he sent me. Whenever he has some more time, he can get back to me about that. But he's busy today, so he was not going to be on stream. I let him know what time I started doing that. Make the UED Vulture to launch Spider-Mans. You actually.
Zombies, exploding heads, creepy crawls, and a date with a porno. This is classic.
Alright, so we're gonna have to figure out some of the other junk in here. And I don't remember how many frames were in this. It's like 232, okay. Okay, did that. So now we have the Zerg, or the Zitsun unit, or whatever. Sorry, did you write 3 in your message, UED Commander? That's a bannable offense. I really like the mixed play clip, Mesk Melt. I think that's my favorite one. I look at the names that people have for all these things, and what's the term? There's like a lack of personality from the what's it called? The overall experience, I guess, of just when I look at people's unit names, they tend to be very utilitarian, I guess, and straightforward. And I want to create more of like I have more of a penchant for like fantasy, unit fantasy, like the fantasy of what a unit is meant to be. Like my names are always much more like extravagant, probably than they need to be. But I just like that better. I mean, obviously that extends to my faction names as well. Lest you forget, IRF Omicron. Agents of Istrathik. Agents of Orlitoskos. Ian Vidis Brood. Angerbolda Brood. Ouroboros Brood. You know, stuff like that. Why? What do you mean disturbing? Like, I always wondered what you were getting at when you're talking about that. But. What does that mean?
Indeed, Phoenix. The Zerg we've encountered here are but fodder compared to the ranks of the Ouroboros brood.
What is wrong with Ouroboros? I have to do a better Tacitor at some point. That's still not good enough. Good thing I can. I can become Acidar. What do you mean? Why is that? Why is it bad that he says it? No, he doesn't say it that way. He simply says Ouroboros. Not a problem. What's the big deal? So I want to, before I start working on other graphics, I want to actually implement the ones that we have. So we are going to do that. First, I'm going to... Well, we'll open the... Oh no, we should open the MPQ and do it that way. It's faster to test the offsets. So let's do unit, neutral. Alright, so we are a solid... Oh, check that out. It has fucked up team color, too. Voyager, what did you do, man? Alright, so that's like -6, I think. Pranked. Well, it's a good thing I can easily edit it. That's the exoframe graphic. Oh wait, I keep opening Photoshop when I don't need to be. Alright, so that looks good. And then we have to Well, we'll have to keep that open because I've got to write an iScript for the other units. So we're going to take this, extract it out. It's not ready, by the way. Wow. I can't believe Voyager, of all people, made that mistake. Alright. So we gotta fix that, but I'm pretty sure there's something else that it hasn't. I'm pretty sure there was like more than just one set of pixels that was fucked up. So we'll fix this, and then we will see where that goes. What am I missing here? Here we go. 187. Oops. Oh, what's up, Connor? Well, I can pretty much automatically fix any shadow, so if you send me a GRP, I can fix it. Bonus points if you've already extracted it into a BMP. Or a set of BMPs, but no, that's even more annoying to do, so never mind. I should clarify any unit shadow. I can't fix building shadows yet. DF has yet to send me a batch action for that. I'm pretty sure that's going to be very difficult to do. Did I already add this? I lost my mind. No, I guess not. So let's take a look. See what else we got. No, we seem to still have a fucked up pixel here and there. It's super easy to see in here, but not so easy to see otherwise. Okay, so there's still... trying to think. It's actually quite a few. I think there's 3 different tones that are fucked up still. So there's 4 in total. So I just fixed one of them. That was that one. That random blue looks like it got fucked up from a palette conversion or something. I wonder where the source is on this image, like where it's from. Because I thought Voyager just made it himself, but if that was the case, I don't think he would have fucked up the team color like this. I hope you guys like my scroll wheel. All right, we'll just hope that that's fixed. And I'll move the unit around a bit. Yeah, it does seem like it's a case-by-case basis, but I'm sure there's something that would at least give me a leg up, you know, like a quick head start on it, rather than having to deal with it the same degree. So it definitely feels like it's a little bit too much. Also, frame atlases. I fucking hate them. Alright, so we just did that anyway. Minimize this. Let's go into here. Las are las. Oh, you actually did export it. Well, if this gets fucked up, it's your fault. Yeah, that's how he can wave. Waving the flag. He waves them back to life. What a mess. Alright. So I'll say, take the unclean one for this. Hey. The leather club's 2 blocks down. No. I can't believe soy food. Oh, man. Oh, look, that's done. Alright, I sent you the shadow. You'll have to play around with the iScript offset and probably like a minus, depending on the height of the units, between like -2 and -8 for the Y value. So you got X and Y. So for the shadow in iScript, you do imgul 0, 0 usually. For these shadows, you'll have to play around with the second value. Well, I guess it's the third value because 3. The first one is the image ID. Should be better than whatever you had. Alright, minimize. So we're still setting up the graphic here. Not actually sure what graphic I can use for this. It'll be so nice when I don't have to replace existing graphics, man. 11127. Alright, so for that, Userib and Zuckshed. Haha. Everybody loves a good old Zuckshed. All right. So first we'll grab the Defiler iScript and we'll use that as the basis here. If I can find the Defiler iScript, here it is.
Okay, thank you.
I should probably hit the other light, huh? Hold on one second. Oh yeah, I got a mirror in my room now, which is pretty nice. Before I used to have to like... Well, it wasn't really that big of a deal anyway, but... Be like, if I'm trying to brush my hair, I'm doing it entirely blind, you know? Alright, so... Use Serib. So... Oh, I don't actually know how long the waits usually are in these. Let's compare that to the Zergling. What was the system for this? Pretty simple script, actually. Oh. Well, that's probably going to look like AIDS, but whatever. All right, so we did that. Close that. And close that. Oh, I actually have to put the unit in here. Oh, by the way, UED Commander, you'll be happy to know that the Zitsun, the people that did the... What was it that you liked? It's the whatever is not Jim Raynor, that race, that faction. They are all Russian alcoholics. So... Did I not import my... No, I did. What happened there? Apparently I didn't save that. Or that. Why is it imgulling? That's pretty funny. Just walk around with a spawning pool attached to your ass. Maybe -3 is too much for that, you know. Dude, what a fucked up unit, honestly. Oh. Well, there's 2 of them there. Yeah. Still, it looks like a real fucked up unit, man. I might be playing a burrow frame or something in the middle of their... Yeah, I'm almost certain I am accidentally playing a burrow frame in here. That seems impossible, though. Oh, maybe the unit is just that fucked up. No, it's not a burrow frame. It's just that fucked up, man. Holy shit. What an unusable unit. Well, our stuff is all set, I think. I'll just go ahead and... place this here for... close that out. What a mess. Alright, so we've got 2 units added to the game. That seems fine. Okay, so who's up next, you may ask? I don't know. Let's go hunt down some graphics. Hunt down the graphic. This could be a U, actually. Too bad it uses frame atlases. Man, it's really too bad it uses frame atlases. There's so much extra work for me. Oh, nice. Yeah, you were telling me how you basically got everything done there. Why did I decide to play Deus Ex? It's been on the list for a really long time, and I've been slow to get there myself. The lighting on these units is so strange. I'm not sure what this unit will be, but I intend to... I just want to see what I can actually do with them. It looks like there's a lot of frame sets, though. Looks like 4. I was thinking this might be a unit for one of the factions that I've got going on here. Unfortunately, frame atlases make it so fucking difficult to navigate. I think they're sort of organized, so like... I don't know, there's not really any way to know, unfortunately. I am going to erase all of the left-facing frames so that that's less shit to look at. Anybody, like, I don't know what the advantage of frame atlases are, but it's so frustrating to deal with as an end user. At some point I will be playing Deus Ex and all those, yes. Fear not. Well, I'm just going to add these in sequence vertically. Let's see what happens. Wasn't what meant to be yesterday. I did stream Deus Ex yesterday. It's in your sub box. Unless YouTube fucked up. Which also would not surprise me. Check out his soy video. Man, that game so far is pretty shit, I gotta be honest with you. Purely because, of course, no gameplay. Why would there be? You told me concerns about what? Warp relays and Clarions? Or are you just talking about those AI personalities? Yeah, you were telling me that you had to go fix something related to them. But I thought you already did that. Is there another frame set? Because I already have all the vertical ones that I would need in theory. Well, I'll throw this in here anyway. I'm missing a 4-5. Looks like. Oh, that might be it. No, that is not it. It's from this game, Five Nations. That's a good one. No, don't worry. If there's time today, I'll do it. If not, it'll be next week. It shall resume. But how are you anyway? Monsieur Remy. Finally, we found the 4 to 5. Dog. Yeah, we might have to make them more sturdy. We'll see. No. Shield regen maybe, something like that, yeah. Or, yeah, I don't know. Maybe an aggressive bonus instead. We are still missing a number of frames. I'm not sure where they are. Well, I don't know how you explain this one. I have yet another frame set? I don't think so. We'll just ignore that one for now. Well, here's a bunch of the tops we were missing, and the bottoms as well. Oh, I see what happened here. Oh, I think we're missing a frame here. Right. Oh no, we're missing. This is the bottom that we were missing before. Okay. Well, we're still missing one here though. Alright, so that is the same frame, so we are missing 74, 75. Which is like one of these, I think. So difficult to sort through this shit. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so we're like, we have like a random half of a frame set or something. Yeah, we have 12 out of 17 or something like that, or 13 out of 17. Definitely going to take some time to figure this one out. Okay. So I guess I'll just take the parts I need from 5, assuming I can make a looping animation anyway. Maybe we'll save that one for later, man. I don't know. And yeah, I actually had the same thought about the Oracle type unit. That's exactly what I thought it was. Oh, that could be a Gorgolith. TBH. Oh, this might be a what do you call it? Could be Irolith. Yeah. What the fuck is that? What do they have, a fucking hedgehog? Yeah, Gorgolith and Irolith might end up just coming from here. I don't know about... Are there any other units we need placeholders for? Obviously, like ground units we need them, but I don't think there's any other air units. This is very clearly a Guardian. It's like an Ultralisk Guardian, though. Look at it. I don't know how I zoom in this program. It attacks with a fucking... It chops the fucking blade. That's really funny to me that they took a Guardian and then turned it into an Ultralisk. Plants, by the way. This could easily become a what do you call it? I think this could easily become the Gorgolith tech structure. It's not quite a burrow. We can't call it the Gorgolith burrow anymore, but oh, maybe we still could. It's like a fish burrow more than anything. Easy enough placeholder. Hopefully it's not too big to fit in the same dimensions as the scout. I mean the spire. Scout, by the way. Are there really that many frames in this? I think these are the only actual frames here. This is going to be a Hydra replacement eventually. Which is why I'm not spending too much time on it right now. Suffice it to say, we have done our duty. Let's take another look through the glass here. Nerve spores, by the way. Yeah, the problem is, like, these units seem great. I can't wait to implement them. But they are going to take fucking ages. So. For now, it is a new, actually. Here's some void units. What are Tho again? Oh, these are like the other Terrans. Well, you're welcome to download this game as it is freeware and convert them yourself. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for me to slowly convert everything. The fuck? Apparently, Action did not get the memo there. Oh yeah, I should fix the team color. You like that? That's some good entertainment. It's probably the best part of about the whole game, to be honest. anything looking like a heavily armored fighter there? Let me take a look. That might do it. I feel like I've seen these before in like a Korean mod or something. This one, I think. Maybe. Not sure. Anyway, it's either 2 or 12. I'll put them up next to each other. Oh, these are buildings. Destroyed. Let me just make sure none of the expansion units would work for it. I think I already did that unit. Yeah, okay. So, hold on. I'll prep them. Oops. Yeah, it's double it, triple it. Because the first one is double it. Yeah, it seems to work fine this time. I don't know why it was fucked up there. Alright. Fed, and this is unit 12. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of as well. This is pretty much the only thing that's like armored while also being a fighter type thing in terms of size. The other one is like a stealth bomb type unit, it looks like, or something to that effect. Seriously. I didn't do it properly the first time, so. So, I don't know which one you prefer, but... I don't even know why this is like a space unit. This looks more like a like an airplane that would, like a jet or something, not an airplane. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, Unit 2 seems like it's more likely to be useful for your purposes, if I had to guess. Oops. Started typing in special bus instead of actually what I wanted to do. Oh. I'm gonna have to do so much manual fixing for all of these assets, man. Oh, no. Okay. Well, I will add it to the list. I've prepped it already. Oh, boy. Let's get some more... I'm going to use that first asset that I made, that tinier airplane. I'm going to try to process that one out and use that for some fighter of some kind. This will also give me some idea of actually implementing these units. I've sent 2 to iQuire, but I haven't actually implemented any myself. I sent a few whips to Voyager at some point as well. So let's do this. We're at 17. Extract it out this way. I think I like the painting rather of the asset seems mostly okay. I think this will be the last asset I fuck around with though, so I'll close these for now. And I'm just gonna go find the peak colors sampler. Just paint some highlights here. supposed to be like a darker set over here. I wonder if I could get away with doing this. Bing, 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 bong, 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 bing, 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 bong, 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 bong. This is about as much effort as I'm probably going to have to put in for every single frame. I have to imagine. Oh, nice. Tinier Tony. Those are supposed to be No. I mean, the units might end up being UED or something like... what I'm thinking is... some of these units will end up being useful for generic Terrans, but the buildings are very different. Like, the units, I think, can mesh with a Terran army, at least as placeholders. The buildings could be, like, placeholders for a very long time for the UED, if you know what I mean. Like, they seem like pretty solid placeholders if you, if I'm able to actually fuck around with them properly, so. That's what I'm hoping, anyway. I'm hoping that I can get away with that. And good to know, Iquare. Some solid work there. Does anybody know if it's possible for me to, like... Oh, okay, never mind. Exactly what I wanted. I mean, I'm probably just, like... doing a slightly dumber system of... what I should be doing, but that's okay. Wondering why they did it that way. Might just be the palette punching it in the face. Excuse me. All right. On to the next. I started halfway through instead of being sane, so that's great. When it's just the one graphic, it's not so bad, to be honest. But like, especially a small one like this, you know, there's really only 3 areas I have to watch out for. So. Destroyed by memory. I don't even know what that means. So you, actually. Yeah, you have 2 ends if you're insane, so I don't really think it's any better. Epioc. All right, not much more work to do with this one. Today we became pixel artists, boys. Artist Yosef's. So basically, the game automatically reads. You see these 8 colors that I have down here. The game automatically reads those colors as team color. And so, if you ever have looked at the anatomy of an actual player color, which I'll show you right now, you'll notice that it has 8 colors in each player color. So the first color itself is the brightest value. Second color is the second brightest, so on and so forth. So, well, it's not really brightest. It's more like, well, it is brightest on the unit. So you paint the colors in the way that you want the player color patterns to show up. And then the first of the 8 colors that make up the player color maps to the brightest, whereas the 8th maps to the darkest. And then, obviously, like, it fills in based on that. So that's why we're painting with magenta. Eventually that'll be, like, the game will read that and make changes accordingly. This, and I think we've got 2 more sets to do. Yeah. This one really got fucked up, it looks like. I'm also approximating the color to pick here based on the darkness of the color that I'm replacing on the sprite, which will help it look a bit natural. A bit more natural than it would otherwise. Obviously, I get it wrong a lot. And sometimes that's deliberate, where I think it would look better in a different light. But we will see how it turns out. Nothing's stopping me from opening up the asset and trying again if I do fuck something up. They're trying to maintain the illusion of depth on this 2D asset without sacrificing visual quality. And while still obviously painting the correct colors for our index. How do I think dynamic lighting in Brood War would work? Well, the thing is, like, you have to make sure that the values are not too insane. In Remastered, they're so far beyond what should be in the game. So they're super distracting and unreadable. And they really confuse battles when they do show up. So that's like obviously a big problem for those. But I think lighting should be done in a way where it's simply, like, it's very minor in effect, but it's noticeable. And nobody has any restraint, so you'll very rarely see any behaviors that are like that. It's very, very rare to see, like, a tastefully done set of colors, right? People just go for the most visually noisy ones, in my experience. Well, yeah. I mean, I assumed the asking power of that was mostly around like, what would you do if you could implement dynamic lighting and all of the other issues, like how would an ideal application of it look like based on, basically, is what I was conceiving of the question as. But you're right that currently we do not have the tools necessary to make it happen. Yeah, so I thinking. So what's going on anyway, DF? How are you? Yeah, you'll have to... Well, I can probably reskin those for you real quick. I don't know if they'll look like Veek, but you can ask Veek to do them. See what happens. He's got the same stuff. He's got like the batch action that he used on his computer, and I don't. I'm sure if you send him the required stuff, he would be happy to assist. Wait, what? Wrong unit. Alright, so this implementation here will tell me all I need to know about whether or not the graphic is accurate. For now, we'll just replace the Wraith. Let's see what happens. I guess I can pre-place one for myself. Oh, it's tiny. It's Tiny Tony, dude. Okay, bye. There's an A's Panic without any AI being run. Oh, it's probably my AI. It's the trigger AI. Have to figure out what happened there. It's probably something. I don't know. Oh, that almost aligns perfectly. It's not quite coming out of the right spot, but that's okay. Yeah, the unit doesn't seem to jump up and down in terms of height, which is pretty nice. Oh, epic. No, I forgot about that bug where they... That's super reproducible, too. Maybe I could well, no, I wouldn't want to gull it. I don't know. Anyway, at least we know. It is a very small unit, though. And I should probably clean up some of the... There's like some black pixels that I should get rid of. I'm not sure how best to do that, but... So let's figure out why our AI was crashing. Then we'll test the other units. What a fucked up graphic. I guess we'll just test those units now and worry about the rest later. What does that mean? Terrain effects. Dude, what? This is such a fucked up graphic. I would need to do so much manual fixing. Oh, and it crashes when attacking. Wonder why. Voyager didn't make a frame where the firing animation is the same as the feet, so that's pretty epic. I'll probably have to fix that myself. Annihilated. There's nothing wrong with them. They're beautiful. It's beautiful creep jelly. Oh, they even cycle. That's funny. Yeah, that fucking Omnicrid unit is basically unusable, it seems. Pretty shit. Creep edges are in the tile set. I mean, no, creep edges are a GRP file in the tile set folder. Creep interior is in the tile set. Oh yeah, I never imported the latest gay.txt. Well, anyway, since we know that that unit works now, and all we have to do is clean up some shit around it, we can do that later. Past 3! What's up? Go to bed. Have a good one. See you later. Big kisses. Yeah, that blue is too similar to like 30 other blues. But we'll edit it later. Alright, so I will be right back. I have to use the bathroom and all that, so see you soon. What's up? I'm back. There's no Nerazim new game state shield bidder. Yeah, talk to Veek about that. He'll help. And what's up, Ultralisks? Hello. I guess you could say I am like lack of focus in a sense, but that's okay. We're refocusing on Full Toilet for now. I'm gonna jump back to I'm gonna jump back to Toddborn on stream at some point. I don't know if it'll be this week or next, so that I can finish map 2 and hopefully convince iQuare to help me out with the issues that we still have. And I'm not sure how much technical work the rest of the work will actually be in terms of implementing stuff, but that'll probably be a little ways away from now. At least I think that'll probably be next week, now that I think about that, because I still want to go back to I want to focus on Full Toilet for now, get it most of the way there, maybe start working on like the Vzergo 1 changes for Hydra, or just continue working on graphic conversions from this Five Nations game or something. We'll see what happens. Well, it's like I'm focused on working. It's just I'm working on 12 different things. Like, I'm still getting work done. It just happens to be wildly different, if you know what I mean. All right, we should close that for now. Nice. So let's take a look at our AI after I give these clowns back their beige color. I think that was the color I had them at. Nope. I thought it was a 90 something. Maybe it was brass. Nope. Wasn't that either. It was some off yellow. Don't remember. Are they still the other color in this? Might give me a leg up. Yeah, there. Apparently it was beige. Yeah, I guess so. Odd. Todd. Anyway. Triggers. What's going on here? Do, 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 do. So why would this be an issue? Oh, I guess the blank isn't needed. That might be the panic. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you how I feel about this. I've already talked about this, how I'm going to be adding terrain effects in Hydra, but it's going to be bonuses. It's never going to be negatives. Brood War pathfinding is too fucked up to punish players more than height already punishes them, and more than out of position fights already punish them. So that's my logic behind that, is there's no sense made, and even if it makes logical sense from a story or lore or realistic perspective, no reason to punish, to apply penalties. Like, height it by itself is an advantage that is no, like, I've even reworked height itself to be an advantage, you know? It's like bonus range, bonus armor type thing. Whereas when you consider stuff like mischance, I feel like it's not the same thing as just dealing less damage. It's your opponent has more armor, basically, now, as opposed to it being just, oh, sometimes you miss. Well, you can give bonuses. I think bonuses to terrain, when used sparingly, can be ways to add value to tiles, into areas that don't have as much intrinsic value without them. And that can be a powerful tool for map developers to create compelling maps. But do I think that you should ever penalize players? Like, actually apply a stat-based penalty based on terrain? No, especially not in Brood War. There could be something that's more like a certain status effect that's based in part on a neutral. Like, you kill a creep, or a critter rather, and the critter explodes violently and deals damage in an AoE. That's different, though, obviously. You know, like explosive barrels or something. That's a doodad or a unit rather than being something more distinct, I guess. Yeah, walkers are much more error-prone. True. But you solve this by not having walkers in your army if you're trying to do something like that. You know what I mean? That's how you solve that. You don't solve it by penalizing walkers for walking on rocks. No. No. Did you send me a change? Oh yeah, you did. I haven't... I'll do that soon. I'm just going to throw this in here. The thing is, like, unless you can explicitly opt into the trade-off, and I don't mean opt in by going into the area, I mean opt in by taking advantage of it based on a certain thing. Like, it has to be either a dynamic event, like what I was describing with neutrals, or it has to be a complete and utter bonus based on certain areas, like certain tiles. And that's why it's, like, really sparing. You're not supposed to use it a lot. It doesn't make any sense to use it a lot. So, there is no... I've never seen it implemented in a way that feels good for the player. Now, there's something like... reduced hit points and increased or damage per second while also getting increased attack speed is something that the ion cannon field leaves behind. But that's a dynamic event based on the ion cannon's projectile. And you can choose to extinguish them with certain status effects. There's going to be certain things that destroy them, that stop them from... Like, cancel them out, basically. So, I'm not sure exactly how that mechanic is going to work, but it's going to be the same thing for all status effect areas. It'll be like... It'll do something that extinguishes things like Dark Swarm, the Screamer pools, the Ion Cannon fields, stuff like that. So that'll be like, at least that's planned to be included at some point, as something to that effect. Which allows you to make the decision, do I want to just not bother with that at all and field a bio-based army that won't get the increased attack speed? Or do I want to take advantage of them, specifically try to bait out the shots in proper scenarios and do stuff like that? Like, there's different playstyles that arise from that. And it's a dynamic event, and you can stop it directly by destroying the ion cannon as well. So there's all sorts of different things that play there, instead of it just being a static area on the map where maybe you have to play through it for some reason or another, and you just get fucked, you know? So. Oh yeah, I've got to compile a new plugin. So yeah, hopefully that explains my standpoint. But I've never seen a good argument for it. So feel free to contest me on that if you think there's something I'm not considering. pong. I was talking about how I've never seen a compelling argument for for penalizing units based on terrain placement. Like if you walk into an area, you lose movement speed because you're trudging through mud or something is like an often example. I only see reasons where, like, if you're going to have some terrain-based enhancement, it has to be an upgrade or it has to be a benefit as opposed to a penalty. I've never seen a good argument for it being a penalty. Like, obviously people will say it's more realistic this way, but I don't give a shit about realism. I'm playing a goddamn video game. Come on now. Oh yeah, I have to call this again. I'm still getting a panic for some reason. I don't know what's happening. It can't parse the player combat thing in comparison player combat. Oh, it's because I'm using lock. So let's see. I don't remember if I did weight builds or hold on. No, it is weight build start 2 barracks, so yeah, it seems like it's working. It's gonna wait for 200 and then get an academy, so we'll see. Maybe not. Yeah, it's still not working, Iquare. Wait, build start 2 barracks, and then wait until you have 200 ore, and then build an academy. Wait, now I got it, but what the fuck? No, it worked, but it waited for like way higher mineral count than it should have. Like even now, there's supposed to be a refinery request. Also, No Town's Jump doesn't take into account takes into account uncompleted buildings, which is retarded. There's supposed to be a refinery request when it has wait build start 1 academy, but as you can see, there is no refinery request. So something is still wrong. I think what you did was you did wait build start now checks if the building is completed, not if the building was started. Now the academy's done, and now refinery is here. So wait build start is acting as if wait build... It's acting as if it's wait build, basically. I don't know what engineering stuff like pontoon means, Yudi. Well, I'm just telling you what I'm observing. Well, Well, even that UED is kind of confusing. By what you're talking about is going above and below bridges. Something that StarCraft 2 can't even do without a bunch of hacks. Alright. Try your idea. We'll see what happens. Oh, omnidirectional. Wait, never mind. I didn't even realize. Pontoons, and then your opponent can count up by destroying those. It's just it's a bad mechanic, man. Like what you're doing is you're saying if you want to use this pathway, you either have to not build this type of unit, or ignore the pathway, or otherwise negate my gameplay mechanic by interacting with some system that is entirely a gimmick for exactly the purpose of negating this gameplay mechanic. I would just really, if I were you and you wanted to make terrain more dynamic, just help iQuare with the Pathfinder rewrite. Go through and figure out what you could do to help with that, and then after you do that, have ramps. Allow players to build their own ramps or bridges or something, like actual bridges over water. That would make terrain dynamic. I don't know that it would be a positive change. Well, I'm saying that would actually be a benefit. You have to do a retarded amount of technical work to implement the system you're talking about anyway. It would require a Pathfinder rewrite most likely. So it's the same sort of thing. But at least at that point, it would be a consistent mechanic across all tile sets and terrain types, essentially. All cliff types, I should say. And it wouldn't be like there just to gimmick or gimp a specific composition into relevance or out of relevance. Yeah, this is your ally right here. Then you've got these two Zergs and these two Terrans are a team, but this Terran isn't going to show up until partway through the map. Frauds are hostile to everybody. And if you kill the hero, you don't actually kill him. They just... I have to replace that with a lurker eventually. You don't actually kill the hero. They just... what's the term? They get knocked unconscious, and you recover them, basically. And as a result of doing that, you will ally their workers. Ally their subservients. All right, wait build start 1 barrack or 2 barracks. Now they're gonna wait till 200 minerals. So yeah, it'll be sort of like a free-for-all map. The frauds are an extra piece, though. The frauds can they get mind controllers, and they use these mind controllers on the heroes and turn them into their allies if they're allowed to. It's like mind control by default. They try to like snag workers and other stupid shit, but up until that point, oh, moment of truth coming up here. Yep, academy. Okay, cool. And then we should get a refinery request immediately. Yep, refinery. Nice. So I haven't actually tested wait build. Easy way to spin, by the way. Good job. There's an easy way to check this, though, for the wait build start stuff, I mean. Or the wait build stuff to see if that's working properly. What we'll do is we'll do... wait build academy. So we'll just use a debug message here. And that will tell us whether or not wait build is properly doing its stuff. Here we go. Save. I need like a third monitor, but I don't really have any desk space for it. Apparently, Gui Montag is set to first sergeant like a true Tismer. Alright. I always called him Gui, even though it's supposed to be Guy, I think. Even though it's spelled G-U-I. GUI. That's what programmers call it. Check out my man. Yeah. Okay, so wait build seems to be working. Cool. I don't think there's any lore behind him. I certainly hope there isn't. Uh-oh. Pranked. See, 5 and 2. That's a decent spread, I guess. There should be something in AI debug that displays the list of requested attack units, I think. Also, bye! Oh, okay, cool. So he's a real character then. Can't believe he's actually enslaved you. Pretty embarrassing to be on. TBH. English. Oh yeah, I got some cool quotes from Mesk. I'm going to turn him into unit responses for some unit.
I am from India! Kill yourself in the name of Christ! Faggot head! But that's gay, and I am pretty hungry.
Some pretty good line. Hi. What the fuck? Why? Dude, what? Spin. Dude, why? What would possess... I wasn't watching, so maybe they all ran homo. And a single medic ran halfway to the battlefield. Oof. Fraud field. Destroyed.
Unwilling acts of religious punishment. Special implements are used on the unclothed back of those who are sick.
Alright, so that's done. Upgrades priority. Let's see. Well, I was just there, so yeah, looks like it. That's lower than every town request, besides the expansions and the refinery. I think expansions have a slightly lower set. Yeah, they're like 70, 72, 74, and 90. They probably have to be upgraded, though. Increased. Increased. Oh. I forgot that's not a normal tile. Bud Morris. That's not a real character. Can't just go around telling lies, you know? By time, do you mean town? It's meant to be like, it checks unit count, but it doesn't check completion, basically. And so I would like it to check completion. It's meant to check the whole map for player units. Maybe if owned works in a different way, I don't know, but... Yeah, not town specific. Correct. I did a little bit of decor work the other day messing around with this. And a couple other doodads here and there. I think it's coming along pretty well, actually. Looks pretty neat. Pretty neat. Bing, bong. The question becomes, what do I script next? I guess Rect's on, right? I don't know what's next. Oh. Yeah, that's fine. That'll do. So I guess we'll just try the same priorities we're using for Terrans for the Zerg here, and we'll see what happens. I don't remove the last one, though. Weight build. There's a 28, and it removes the 27. Open your eyes! I'm not serious when I start yelling at you, generally speaking. So don't worry about it. Well, when I'm talking in an accent, like, open your eyes, it's pretty obvious I'm being a prankster. Because it's retarded, and the AI that are Zerg are also retarded. There's no deeper meaning, I must admit. All right, I documented that stuff. Though it's still a fucking misnomer until we actually ship the experimental build. There's no green. It's just purple. Purple and white are the colors of the Zerg. What do you mean for some reason? The reason is Metin. And yeah, the thing is, if you change the number of arguments that are in a command, say I go in and I modify no towns jump, and now it has a command, a third argument that didn't have before. When I open up an AI script.bin with my new PyAI shit defined with the new command in there, it will read all of the commands as corrupt. Well, it'll read the bin as corrupt and won't be able to parse it. So it's not advisable to do the system that you're talking about doing. You create your completely isolated environment. As a result. So, generally, it's not advisable. And all the work that you could be doing to do that, you could be putting into a brand new scripting system, which would be significantly better for the game anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, he's talking about the stuff that isn't related to team color. But I can't say it surprises me, man. It is Metzen. Alright, cool. Thanks for that change, Icor. I appreciate it. I'll just make sure that it works. Okay. Nice. Excellent. Precisely what I was looking for. So how is progress on your stuff, Veek? Getting anywhere? Yeah, he DM'd me about it. All he was doing was answering some of the questions I had asked about, like, what is minimal range and all this other stuff. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Well, you don't you don't mean unit ID extenders though, right? Just the other ones. Though the other ones are going to be their own nightmare, I'm sure. Weapon platforms might be Brood War anyway, I'm not sure. Depends on whether or not we can implement them. All right. I'm not actually sure how I want to separate the colony stuff. But I suppose it shouldn't be too difficult. The fuck? That was a prank and a half. Figure Sunkens are like 88, or Creeps are 88, Sunkens are 90, something like that. What did I do for bunkers? I think I did 92. Alright, so we'll start at 90 and go up. Yeah, this will actually be much better because of the fact that I'll be able to... among other things, I'll be able to... Just be able to request things without having to keep track of wait build and wait build start creep colonies and all that shit. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. I should check the locations. Oh, I didn't even make any. So yeah, definitely not properly set up here. So this is 7/22/23. And then we'll make some more over here. How's it feel to be joining the club of people who make the AI start out on more of an even field, starting foot, you know? The locations I'm placing, they check if there's any buildings there, and if there are, then bye. So yeah. Basically, is this still a valid location for me to expand to? Because create script doesn't have the safeguard of canceling if there's buildings there. So I build that into the construction of it. I mean, eventually we could just have a comparison that would handle this, but we don't have it yet. So. Oh yeah, getting location IDs, 24, 25, 26. I use deaths all the time in my scripts, yes. I know I can specify XY radius. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm saying, at what point we would not need to use bring jump. We would, in EXP do block, instead of using these conditionals to detect, we would just have a command that would expand if true, and if not, do nothing. So it'd be like an expand to jump command of some kind. So you wouldn't need to, like, you basically combine create script with bring jump in this case. So it would be like something like that. Town create, and it would be It would first have to be true for the comparison or whatever. And so it would be like an optional comparison. You don't have to do a comparison if you wanted to always do it. But if you do want it to be conditional, you can build it in. But again, while we could add that command, we might just end up using a new, like building a new system that actually involves using programming concepts instead of dealing with this shit. Like something like the C++ Bwappy bots and stuff could be useful, but it's not ever used in the context of campaigns, and it's not useful for what we're trying to make. Like it's useful for melee bots, but well, even then you could probably make an argument that it isn't. But it's not my cup of tea for like it doesn't. It's not built around the same understanding of like how to handle large scale stuff. So what we're dealing with is very niche, and we need something that can adhere to that, basically. Alright, so we'll deal with that. So this is the natural. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, you can't call me Sherlock. I'm not Irish. I don't even know if he was Irish, and I am Irish. BRB. Okay. That really was a BRB. But now I'm going, so I'll chat for a minute or two while I wind down. Obviously, I didn't get too much progress done on this, but we were still able to get some graphics in. We implemented a new unit. We fixed some issues with the exoframe graphic, the Cyclops. We debugged the wait build start, no times jump. We fucked around with the layout a little bit. We started working on Rexon's AI. And we had some good conversation. So I'm happy about that, yeah. I don't know how I keep somehow I zoom in. I don't know how I do that. Very strange. Anyway, pretty sure that we still did an acceptable amount of work for the 4 hours that we were together. I might be going out earlier than what will allow me to do a Deus Ex stream, but if I am still here in like an hour, which I think I will be, and I haven't heard exactly when I'll be going out by then, I will do at least like an hour or two, probably be able to get at least that much in. So expect a stream later on today, and if not, I will post in the Discord server whether or not it's happening. Stay tuned, enjoy that. Disaster of a production. that is impending. And yeah. Guess that's that for now. Mwah, kisses. Bye. Call it, call me hand!